Ask a Producer is a podcast where everyone belongs. No matter your craft, we welcome you as a guest on this show. Hosted by Gabriel Ori and J.R. Johnson, the dynamic duo that brings forth a show that's fun, enlightening, and family-oriented. If you are interested in being part of the show, email us at timelessproductions1@gmail.com.
Brother.
Yo.
What it do, man?
What's up, man?
How you feel? Look,
you like
hey,
good. You like the
happy
new,
Friday. Happy Friday to you. Happy Friday to everybody out there. Go ahead. You were saying something, JR?
You like the new video I put out there?
Yeah, man. Look, you gotta tell Liana, man, like, yo, that was dope. I didn't expect that voice is a good voice. That's like a radio voice. Hey, it was so smooth, so like silky smooth. Like, loved it. So shout out to Ayana, your wife. Got a story to tell, man. So
what you got,
bro? So so I want to say this first of all. Happy Friday to everybody that's tuning in. Welcome to Ask a Producer. You know who I am, Gabriel, and I got my partner here to the right of me, or maybe to the left for some people, Mr. JR. And so we want to give you guys a second to come on in. We have a very special guest. You're going to want to come in. You're going to want to tune in, share this video with everybody you know. But check it out, bro. So you know how COVID is, they got the next variant out, the new variant. And I started thinking, man, like, how do you know, how can you differentiate a regular cold from COVID? Because now today's time, a person cough, that's it. Everybody looking at you crazy, like, hey, yo, this person cough, person sneeze. So I was talking to my son, right? Monday, I called him on the phone. I usually have, quick conversation with him while I'm at work. Hey, what's up, son? What you got going on today? Such and such and such. And he was talking, and he started clearing his throat. Yeah, and it's and I was like, I said, hey, you all right, man? You kind of cleared your throat a little bit, right? He said, oh, it's nothing, just had a little itchy throat. I was like, itchy throat. And now that's how I got it, right? So I was like, I said, hey, yo, that might be COVID, right? And so then I told him, I said, look, how do you feel? He's like, no, I feel fine. It's cool. So I said, all right, we're going to keep watching this for a couple days or whatever. And so a few days go by. This was Monday. Yesterday, I hit him up and it sounded like he was stuffed up, like he had a stuffy nose or whatever. And I was like, hey, man, your voice sounds a little different. You sound like you're a little stuffed, man. What's good? You all right? He like, oh, nothing, just a little runny nose. I was like, runny nose? Runny nose? I said, hey, bro. Hey, look, you need to go and get tested for COVID. Now, he got the vaccine. He got all this stuff. He had COVID before. Last year, he had COVID when he went into the National Guard, when he went for basic training. He had COVID. And so I told him, like, hey, man, I know you vaccinated and everything, but you might need to go get tested for COVID, right? He's like, nah, Dad, I'm good. I was like, nah, listen, man, you in the house, you know what's going on in the house, bro. We got a special package coming, special delivery. We don't need no problems. So I told him today, hey, man, go get tested. So he went and got tested. So y'all, he's negative, but it made me think, like, wow, I was kind of like a little on edge with him. Like, what about common colds and just regular, somebody just cough or sneeze? Because we did that before COVID. Somebody might sneeze, your body's resetting, and so it's like everything, because COVID is so matched up so well with your regular common cold, it's kind of hard to differentiate. You know what I'm saying? The two. And it's kind of like if a person coughs or sneezes or has a runny nose or a sore throat, it's like the first thing you do is go to the hospital or go to get a test. But bro, that stuff is so backed up.
Yeah,
it's so many people trying to go get it.
Yeah, my son had RSV, and I never heard of RSV. I mean, it was respiratory virus, some type of virus that these kids are getting. I heard that it was worse than COVID, and I'm like, how? I mean, okay, but yeah, it's a lot of stuff that's going on out there, man. But all I can say is, man, is stay safe, try to eat right,
stay safe,
try to keep the body intact, man, and pray it up.
I'm not gonna say anything about the vaccine. You know, I'm not gonna get political with it. But stay safe, you know, according to you. So now, hopefully you guys have shared the video. We have a very special guest that we're excited about that's in the green room with us. You know, this man has done so much, you know, in the South Carolina, Charleston and surrounding area type region type. You know, everybody out here knows who he is, but just in case some people don't know who he is, we're going to introduce you to this guy. You know, he is hailing. I don't know exactly where he's from, JR. You can help me out. Is it Somerville area? Is it where is this gentleman from?
We're just gonna say Somerville right now, but he'll let us know where he's from.
He'll let us know. But this guy is one of the most known organist, keyboard players out this side of the Charleston and surrounding areas. You know, he has a sound. He's done a lot of things that a lot of musicians out here has admired, has aspired to be. You know, has taken some lessons under his tutelage. You know, even if we just watching from afar, you know, we see this guy, we hear this guy. I'm everywhere. You know, none other, drum roll, none other than the maestro himself, Mr. Daron Shuler. In the crowd goes, what up, brother?
What's up, my brother? What's going on with you?
Hey, I should have seen how they did. What's the announcer's name? He'd be like, Daron Shuler. With the reverb and all of that,
with
man.
All the reverb.
With all the reverb.
Family. I don't need all that.
You deserve it, though, man.
Doing, man. It's a pleasure to be on this show. I'm telling you, I'm so grateful and honored to be on here with you all.
Thank you, man. Thank you, man. Now, look, we know who you are. You know, we know who you are. But introduce yourself for the audience, for people that may not know who Mr. Daron Shuler is.
All right. Well, I mean, I'm me. I'm Daron Shuler, or should I say now, Pastor Daron Shuler.
All right.
All the way from the great city of Utahville, South Carolina.
Oh,
yes, right. I said Utahville.
Didn't know that.
Originally from Somerville, Jetburg area.
Yeah.
Gotcha. That's what's up, man. I don't know if he's talking, JR. Darren, I think you got a little delay. Yeah, I think a little delay.
But I'm from Utahville. Okay, can you hear me now? Can you see me?
We see you, but a little.
There you go.
Yeah.
Am I good?
Oh, there you go. All right.
That better?
Yep.
Okay, that tells you that I'm deep in the country.
Go ahead.
I can't move too many times, so I'm gonna have to be real still.
Hey, every time you move, that joint stutters like. Hey, this guy's in the boonies right now. I know about that. I'm from the boonies, so I know how the internet is out there. But
yes,
we're gonna get. But go ahead, Darren.
Yes, I'm a pastor, musician. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm a worshiper. You know, more than anything, I love God, man. I love my family, and I love music, and so and I love other great musicians, and I'm so glad, like I said, to be on this show with other great musicians, man. And so I'm honored. I'm just a simple guy that loves God, man, and that's it.
We really appreciate that, man. So speaking of music, and we know you to be the maestro, that's what we call you. how did you even get into that world of music? I mean, you play the organ, keys. How'd you get into it?
Well, my dad is actually a musician. He's a guitar player, phenomenal guitar player, and he had a well-known name. So we used to tease and say he treated us like Joe Jackson. So originally we couldn't play, we couldn't go outside and do normal things. We had to play and sing first. I'm from a household of 7 kids. I have 5 sisters. My brother is a musician. He plays bass. My dad plays guitar, and all my sisters sing. I started out on drums at the age of 8. And
all church musicians.
Like I said, when other kids was playing basketball, and all church musicians. And so we had to set up under our little shed and play and learn music first before we could go actually play basketball and all that little stuff other kids were doing.
Wow.
So I appreciate that from my dad. I didn't at the time. I didn't, because I had an attitude on the drums. I was like, oh man, I'm ready to go play some ball. But I really appreciate it. He really instilled in us the work ethic of learning material to practice. So I started out on drums at age 8. Oh. Hello.
Yeah. It's like going in and out. I don't know if you hear that.
There it is.
It's a little choppy. So I'm trying to hear. The last thing I know that I heard was like your dad, the drums. You started off on drums. Right. You want to play ball, but then it kind of went out again.
Okay, can you hear me real good now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So my dad, I started out at age 8 playing drums, but my dad would always make us play music before, like Saturday morning, we would have to set up under the shed and play before we could go actually play basketball or do anything else. So that kind of instilled in us like the work ethic of learning music and just kind of understanding that it takes a lot of dedication and time and practice to become a skillful musician.
So now I know I didn't cut you off. I know you said you were 8 when you started playing the drums, and your dad was kind of on you guys. How did it make you feel as an 8-year-old? Did you understand what your dad was doing at the time, or are you just like, let me go ahead and satisfy this guy and get on these drums or whatever?
I did not understand it. I wanted to go as a young kid, wanted to go play. And you can hear all the kids outside and doing stuff. And so I used to catch an attitude, but I couldn't show it because I said my dad used to be like Joe Jackson. Shut up, play them drums.
Shut up, boy.
Because see, I started off doing that with my son too, and it's kind of like what I found out. Like when I kind of, hey, you're gonna do this, it kind of puts them back, So I don't know. I guess kids are different. Like nowadays, put a little pressure on them, they don't want to do it at all. Next thing you know, it's just like cold. No, I'm not doing it. But that's awesome, man. That's amazing.
I don't know if you know. Did you know, Daron, that your dad and my grandfather played in the same band together back in the day?
I did. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that till he told me one day I was at your church when you was over at New Bethel. He's like, "Yeah, man, you should play with your dad, your granddad." At one point, he thought I was my dad.
Right. Yeah. Dad played with a lot of people. He was in the quartet music, and so he played with a lot of groups and a lot of people, and so it really inspired me. Like I said, as an 8-year-old, I didn't understand it, but as I got older, it made me appreciate musicianship and putting that time in, So I played drums up until age 12, and I think it's 12 or 13 I started kind of transitioning to keyboard and trying to learn the keys, and so I'm 50 now, so that lets you know how long I've been into music.
So at what age, I think you said like 12 or something, but what age did you definitely know yo, this is the thing I want to do. I want to actually pursue this thing now. My dad don't even have to tell me, hey boy, get off that basketball court and come do this. What age were you when you began to like naturally pursue it organically?
Well, I believe at age 15. At
age 15,
I kind of like really started wanting to do it, you know, and really just appreciate it, especially with keys. It's just like my cousin Bishop Andre Simmons. He's from Newark, New Jersey. He used to come down and just like blaze the ham in Oregon. And man, I would be mesmerized when he would play. And so I started kind of like recording him because he wouldn't really take a lot of time out to show me anything. It would be so I started getting smart. I started recording him and just listening to the tape. And it was him and actually Joe Flip Wilson who really like transitioned my playing. I had to go to New Jersey to my uncle's church, and Flip played for I think at the time he was on the road with Guy, and I had to go fill in for him. So everything they sang up there and their transitions and their chord changes were different. Same song, but they were different. So I'm stepping in to try to fill those shoes. And so every time he would get home, get a break from on tour, I would say, okay, let's go to church. And he was the same way. He expected you to pick it up as soon as he did it. So I started recording him, and I would fall asleep with the tape. You know, we didn't have no Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. We had cassette tapes.
Bruh.
So you had to play it. I mean, I popped tapes and fixed them. I was the master of fixing tapes.
Yo, hey, that was the golden era right there, because that's what I used to take them tapes, put that joint in and go put it right on the musician stand. Click. And go back and listen to that joint. Try to play it.
Listen, you can ask anyone. I became a master at repairing cassette tapes. if I played it so much, the tape would pop, and I would play that tape until it. So it created a different. I think today's musicians have it a lot easier than we did,
right?
Because you can slow stuff down, you can speed stuff. You know, you can play it over and over. You can visually look at stuff. But we have you can ears more than the eyes.
You can take a camera and pan it in, see the hand position, pause it, get your fingers just like that. Yo.
Yeah.
And not only that, you got MIDI. You got MIDI now where they can tell you what the notes they're hitting.
Oh, yeah.
So
definitely, man.
It's out there.
Hey, Daron, speaking during those times, like, I know you said Joe Flip Wilson. Who else was some of your early influencers? You know, with the organ keys.
Well, that was it.
Oh, wow.
And Bishop Andre Simmons.
Wow.
And I mean, I used to look at a lot of, because like I said, you didn't really have videos you could, go on the internet and look at. So I would have to catch people at conferences, and, it's when we used to be a part of Fibertize Holiness Church, my friend and brother out in DC, Redmond Caldwell.
Yeah,
he plays Hammond, phenomenal, and his brother's a drummer. So I used to go up to these conferences, man, and just watch these guys. PJ Morgan out of DC.
I remember that.
Yeah. PJ is another guy that kind of would always, when I would run into him on the road when I was with John, and he would just give me pointers, man, and just make me feel a little more confident and what I was bringing to the table. So really, those guys, man, I got to give credit to them for just kind of allowing me to be under their tutelage for a little while and kind of glean from them. So yes.
Now, I'm gonna go back a little bit. I didn't meet you. Now, you and JR kind of, grew up kind of sort of together type of thing. I didn't come into the picture until I met JR, and JR kind of was that plug, for me meeting you. So now JR had to put me on like, yo, Daron Shuler, man, he's that guy. And so he showed me this clip. I saw this clip of you playing for John P. Key, and I think this is my introduction of you. Tell us about that experience, and how did you even get connected with John P. Key?
Well, that's funny. It's really a funny story. I knew the lead guitar player, Tim Mole. I'm real good friends with Andrew Mole and Tim Mole, and so every year he would do this new artist showcase at his conference. And so I had a little group, and it was my wife and my daughter, and a few other people that was at the church, and so we went to his conference to be on the showcase. Well, I was using my vocalist at the time, and so when we went out, we sang, and I think the last song I was using my vocoder.
Right, that's what I saw. I was like, this dude killing it.
Yeah, and so he came out of the back and told us to keep playing. He stopped paying attention to the group and said, "Do that again." And so that's actually how I started with him, because he liked the vocoder that I was doing that night, and we traded numbers, and he had Tim get in contact with me, and so I started flying in from here. Then I moved to Charlotte for a year to be his minister of music at the church, and just traveled and toured with him. So it was a wonderful experience, and I appreciate that opportunity, because it really taught me on a larger scale how to really learn music. And because John Key knows if he's a musician as well, so if you play something wrong or you hit a wrong note or something, he would tell you on the bus after the show. So yeah, he had that, but he has a great ear, and so it just made me really study and practice and put that time in to perfect and on a larger scale. So I really appreciate that. That was a really great opportunity for me.
Awesome. And how long did you do that?
I actually played for him for 2 years. I also toured with Natalie Wilson and SOP, and even while I was with him, I had a chance to play with a lot of other artists like Donnie McClurkin, Marvin Sabbs, Dorinda Clark. It's a lot of Kiki Shear. So it's a lot of people that I actually had an opportunity to play for. So
we saw a question in the audience too, but did you want to get to that now, Gabe, or you want to wait till a little later?
So this question is just a question about selling and distributing. I'll just read the question. Gregory Buttocks, I'm a guitarist and a producer. I am on the verge of completing a high quality sample pack. Where can I distribute it when it's done? So Gregory, we'll get back to that question after we do our break after 8:30. Or matter of fact, near the end of the show. We'll get to that question. So back to you, Daron. And can y'all hear me pretty good? Is my mic still feedbacking?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm good.
Mm-hmm. You good?
Okay.
Yeah.
So now me and JR, we met because of our love and passion for music producing, and he plugged me to you, which I found out that you are also a music producer. And so I think at the time you was working on something. You were still at SOP at the time.
Sounds of Praise.
Sounds of Praise for people who don't know. Sounds of Praise. Shout out to you guys. And you were working on something, and I was like, man, this sounds dope. And then you started working on your project, which is called From a Minstrel's Perspective. Now, tell us about that project, or tell people who don't know about the project that you did a project at that time. This project about and like for you, and what message were you trying to convey, minstrel's perspective?
Well, it's funny. I did that at the time I was at SOP. We were working on the church choir project, and so that kind of got me into learning about production and mixing and all that other stuff. And being that didn't go through like we expected, and so I actually the title of the CD actually was supposed to be a book.
Oh wow!
So I still have to write the book on it, from a minstrel's perspective, just in general, how pastors and musicians, everybody see it from a pastor standpoint, but a lot of people don't look at it from a minstrel standpoint. What does the minstrel go through? How do we feel when we get shut down, when we were told to be quiet, So I'm still going to write this book.
Wow.
So actually, the project, like I said, and I decided to try to do my own project, and to just really it happened because to let me know that I could do it.
Mm.
You know, because I would beat myself up, and I didn't, would doubt myself because I don't have like all the fancy equipment, and I didn't have the funds to go out and have some big time person master produce and all this other stuff. And so I was like, well, I'm just gonna practice on myself, and it ended up being songs. At the time I was dealing with a lot of issues and a lot of stuff, and so it just ended up being a lot of songs that would encourage other people, like "You Are Not Alone." I was dealing with a lot of stuff, and I just heard God tell me, "You're not alone," and that was the message I just wanted to convey to people. No matter how hard it is, no matter how bad it gets, God is with you. You're not alone. So no greater love. I mean, all of these songs, it was just stuff, personal stuff that I was dealing with, and so God just wanted to let me know that I could do it, and so I'm grateful.
Is the Lord inspiring you to drop another perspective too?
Yeah, well, it won't be a perspective too. Actually, I'm working on a project I'm getting ready to drop shortly, and I redid 2 of the songs, "You're Not Alone" and "All My Praise," on this project. But it's "Gotta Believe" is going to be the title.
Okay.
Gotta Believe, and so it's the same thing, man. I just feel like it's songs that I had that I've been sitting on for years.
Yeah.
2012, 13, 14.
Wow.
And
hey, I can relate, bro. I can relate.
And so and because I'm my worst critic, and sometimes I'll just look and I'm like, it ain't good enough, and it don't sound like this person, or it don't sound like this person. And it's not fixed like this, and you do, and that was just the enemy telling me, so it would never be released. If you keep doing that, I will never put anything out. He's giving me my own thing, and music is so diverse.
Yeah, exactly.
So if everything sounded alike, then what would be the purpose of everybody doing something?
Yeah, absolutely right.
And so it's to touch you can reach somebody I can't reach. I can reach someone you can't reach. It takes all of us to unify and just reach these people. And so I'm just gonna put it out. I'm just like, well, if it's not mixed, I'm a perfectionist, but I'm just, I'm tired of listening to it myself and nobody else is here.
Right.
All great musicians, all musicians that's really dope is like that. Like have this little complex, like, yo, I'm a perfectionist. And if it ain't there, like I think it should be, I'm not gonna put it out. But I find that's the enemy's best weapon for people like that. It's like, shoot, if they never put it out, it'll never be materialized. It'll never come to fruition, and it'll never reach who it's supposed to reach.
Right.
That's one pure battle that we all go through, man, as musicians. And that battle, you have to it's like fear. You have to not think about it anymore. Just go with it. Just like I don't care type attitude. Forget it.
Yeah.
But I remember you had a group too. Is that coming back? Are you going to bring that back?
Actually, yeah, we have a lot of songs. My wife is a writer as well, and singer, and my
daughter.
Shout
out to Stacy Shuler.
Yeah, Stacy Shuler. That's
right.
the queen.
And
she writes. Listen, and she's a writer. All of the church choir project songs that we did, and I'm actually going to redo that at our church now, Community Prayer Life Center. We're just going to put some singers together and really put it out like it's supposed to be put out. But she wrote between the two of them, she wrote all of those songs, and it's just such a blessing to have someone that can write, and she can come in and we can put the songs together. So she's a phenomenal writer.
Speaking of from a minstrel's perspective, and I know you wrote that from that perspective, but after the break, we're going to come back from a pastor's perspective. Let's see if anything changed, if anything flipped now that you're on the other side. We're going to come right back after this break. Y'all, Daron Shuler.
I really enjoy meeting people from all different walks of life. I love hearing their stories. I love hearing about what's important to them. I love hearing about their children. I love hearing about their families and really learning how they live their lives. and which really does make real estate the perfect career for me. If you are looking for a realtor that really will take the time out to listen to you and hear you and understand your needs and wants, then the Rose School Group really is for you. That's our goal, to really provide you with the premier real estate experience.
All right, so we're back from the little small break, and so before the break, Daron, we was talking about the minstrel's perspective, now transitioning to the pastor's perspective. So, how was that transition like for you, being a minister of music, and now you're the minister of the Word of God?
Well, the funny thing is, when we were at New Bethel Sounds of Praise, as ministers of music, my wife and I, we didn't even realize until now that the stuff we do now, we've been doing.
Wow.
With the choir members. I mean, counseling, talking to people, and encouraging. And really, being a pastor is just about loving on people, man, and you know, not being judgmental, not looking down on somebody because you hadn't done what they did, but you've done something, you know. And so it's the transition. I knew it was a calling on my life ever since then, but I would, people would tell me, the Lord's calling you. And I'd be like, well, my phone didn't ring. I ain't getting no phone call. But I was running from it because I was determined I wasn't going to preach because I have a lot of preachers in my family. And I think a lot of people get messed up by walking into a calling that they're really not called to do because family members push them. Yeah, and I just refused to get trapped in that because I have so many preachers that came up in my family, and so I ran from it for the longest. And when we left the New Bethel and transitioned out of New Bethel, and we actually tried to go different places, and I wanted to stay a musician. I wanted to stay hidden behind the keyboard. Just let me do this. Let me do this, and I'm good. And it's funny how everything transpired, and we started Community Prayer Life Center. And our overseer, which is my father-in-law, I'll never forget. Stacey and I started the ministry, over here. It was behind his house, and he said, "Okay, next Sunday you're gonna bring the word." And I was like, "What?" But it was funny. I'd already started writing sermons. But whenever my wife would find it, whenever she would find it, I would say those are songs.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So God was already speaking to me. But I appreciate him because he actually pushed me into walking into it.
Wow. Man, and I was gonna say, like, being a perfectionist with the music, you gotta have this certain sound, it gotta be right, how was that? Because you said you want to stay behind the organ or the keyboard, and you know how some pastors, I guess I'm not knocking this at all, but like some pastors, they gotta play the organ, then come from behind the organ and get up and then do the word, almost like a one-man band almost. How has that been for you? Have you had the urge, like say you up there, you preaching, or you bringing the word, and somebody's on the keys or the organ, and you like, oh man, you're not doing it right.
It's literally the church.
Well, the funny thing is, because when we started, I still had to do that, and even now, I've gone to where I had to play, then do worship, play.
One man band.
Turn around and preach, and then transition back from behind the pulpit back to the piano, and my wife had to. And so it's a lot of work, man. It is a lot of work, and I went through the process where I had a musician, and I'm one to understand that I didn't have it all right when I was playing. I got yelled at, I got fussed at, I got preached at. With my uncle Apostle Simmons would be preaching, and he would say, "I don't need no music. I was just learning." And he would preach in his sermon tuned up. I don't need no music because I was messing up so bad. And I would act like I was dusting off the piano or fixing the chord But in my mind, I was saying, he's not going to tell me that next Sunday. He's not going to tell me that next Sunday. And finally, I got to a Sunday where he didn't say that. And so I understand that a musician has his own expression of music. And so I allow that. You know, anybody who comes play and plays, we'll normally rehearse if I sing something and I want a certain transition at chord. But other than that, play like the Lord give it to you. Don't be scripted, and you know, let's grow together is my motto. Let's grow together.
Wow.
And I wouldn't embarrass a person. I would pull them to the side or after service and say, hey, next time do this, or you know, that kind of thing.
Let me show you this. You do it like this next time.
You mean you don't do Prophet Karn and say, what are you doing? Why?
No, that is ridiculous. You know, you could crush. You could everybody don't come up like I came up with tough skin.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you can kill somebody's dream and kill somebody's passion, and it turns somebody away from church doing that.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
Everything ought to be done decent and in order. And I think if you know, I have had a musician that came and played, and he's not that skillful in all his keys, and he got on the organ, and my wife laughed at me, but I had a teachable moment while I was preaching.
Oh,
and I just went over to him because he didn't have the drawbar pulled out right. I went over to him, pulled the drawbars out, and set the organ for him. But nobody knew what I was doing.
Right.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? It didn't crush him. It didn't embarrass him. You know.
See, that's what you're supposed to do, man. A lot of these preachers, man, some of them got big heads, man, and they be running out because they feel like they can preach and all this kind of stuff. But they're gonna run up on the wrong one. Somebody gonna end up doing something, and it's gonna be all on social media. There's gonna be a fight in the church.
I've already seen it. I'm telling you, preachers misuse the musicians and treat them bad, and they get and now Facebook, everybody air things out that shouldn't be done that way.
It's airing out, bro.
Yeah,
and so, you shouldn't do that either.
Right.
Yeah, and so the transition, like I said, me being the musician and a pastor, musician is definitely my first passion. And so I try to always be mindful of whoever's backing me up to get with them, and we have certain things that we talk and discuss, because I feel like it shouldn't just be about the person being a musician, but it should be about the whole person. You know, some people are only concerned with people giving them their gifts, but they're not concerned with what the person's dealing with life.
Yeah.
You know, how is this person's spiritual growth? To me, that's more important than you playing.
Absolutely.
If you feel like you can't play this Sunday and you need to get a breakthrough, sit down and get it.
Wow.
You know.
And so, y'all, we have Mr. Daron Shuler on with us. If you have questions, go ahead and throw your questions in the comments. Don't forget to share the video. Daron, I know as a musician myself, and as a person that's almost can be considered like one-man bandish type of ordeal, it's a lot of work, man. Like, it's a ton of work, like practice, rehearsal. Well, practice yourself, and then rehearsal. You know, rehearsing with the choir, praise team, you know, and then a musician's rehearsing with the musicians. How is all of this like transition? I wouldn't say from the musician to the pastor, but like you kind of doing dual roles. How's that affected you, like your family life? You know, with your wife and your kids.
Well, I learned, you know, my wife, of course, she works alongside me. She's co-pastor of the church, so she works alongside with me.
That's so awesome, right there.
And my daughter, she sings on the praise team. My youngest daughter is in the media department, and so. But I've learned because for the longest we had the order of how God set things up wrong. It's God first, it's family, then it's church, then it's work. But we were taught it was God, church, and whenever you can fit your family in.
Hey, I thought it was God, then church.
Yeah, well, I mean, we wasn't taught that, but that's how it felt. Because we were in church so much.
No, we were taught that. We was taught that.
Yeah,
indirectly.
So I learned, thank God, that because we're a church. Of course, God is number one, and we promote family. So we try to do things in our ministry for the family. If you have to take time to go somewhere with your family, by all means, just be accountable and let us know and go.
Right, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I do the same thing with my family. We always doing stuff together. And so to keep that balance, you have to keep balance in your life. And so that transition really hadn't been tough, because I had to learn. I remember we was at New Bethel years ago, and we were in church so much. And one weekend, my daughter said, because everybody else kids could be gone, but they would be falling asleep on this bench because we couldn't leave. We had to play, we had to do the choir. And so my daughter said, "Man, y'all running out with all this church." And it bothered me. They were young girls. And it bothered me. Wow. And I'll never forget that one Sunday I called in. I was accountable. I called in and I said, "Hey, I had to let Bishop and our First Lady know I'm not going to be to church this Sunday. You know, make sure." I already had somebody in place to cover me. And we got up, we prayed, we went and had breakfast, and we went bowling. And you would think that was like the best thing at the time, because our family needed that.
Wow.
And so you got to be careful in ministry, and I'm trying to be careful. We don't have a lot of unnecessary programs, and thank God we don't have to do a lot of stuff to raise money and all this other stuff. You know, whatever we have is meaningful for the soul. It's for uplifting, and if we do anything, we always have our family connection night at the church on Friday. Every fourth Friday, every fourth Sunday, we would feed the members for free, so everybody could have time with their family right after church. And on those Friday nights, we make sure no cell phones. All right, we go.
Wow, that's good.
So I think it's important. God first and family next,
but
and everything else will fall in line like it's supposed to.
And that should be taught in churches, but oftentimes it seems though that a lot of pastors they feel as though they're the head of everybody's household, and everybody have to tend to them. But that's good, because as a man, you are the head of your house, you are the priest of your home, and so if you feel like there's something lacking, hey, that's your responsibility to take care of that. And so that's right. A lot of people need to, a lot of men need to take heed of that. If you're married,
listen, as a pastor, we are called to serve first.
Absolutely.
And so I love serving people. I love people. Listen, I love God. I love church. I love ministry. I love my family. And you love God like you're supposed to. So love the Lord thy God with all your heart, your soul, your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. If you get those things in order, everything else will just fall in line. You won't have to work hard to do anything. Your church be taken care of. He said he'll supply all your needs. Go ahead.
I'm laughing. My wife, she's funny. She gonna so we going bowling on Sunday.
hey, tell your wife, fall back. Hold on now. Hold on.
You go tend to the kids, Yana. We having our own conversation over here.
Hey, boy, Yana heard that. Daron said, no, family, then church. Boy, Yana said, thank the Lord. The Lord is on my side. JR, you ain't going to church no more.
Hey, JR, you have to tell her like I tell my wife.
JR, you got this ready.
Oh boy, that's funny.
Oh man, but you're so right though, Daron. You're so right, man, because a lot of people, like, church will keep you busy. What? Church will keep your time so occupied. And I think one of the things that people look at church is they look at church as God. And so they feel like that's the duty. When I go to church, I'm serving God because I'm at the church. And God really wants you outside the church. He wants the church to be like a teaching ground, you learn, but then take it out. And
take it out.
You are the church. You are the church. So now take it out to the people that needs it. You see, and then come back into this. Some people call it a hospital. Some people call it, a school. Some people call it a place where you can develop. It's all of that, I believe. So we need to do church, the right way, especially in this day and time.
You said,
isn't it a fact? Thing. Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
Yeah, he said a key thing, man. We are the church. We're an ecclesia, a called out body of baptized believers. We're called out to do something great. We go inside, we go inside to gain strength, to gain knowledge, to take it out. But most people want to keep it within the four walls, and then outside the four walls, they do any and everything and misrepresent the church.
Right.
So, I'm just grateful that I had to really, I've learned and really started studying for myself to understand that it's bigger than just being in church. And I love church. Trust me. Even when we was at Sounds of Praise, I love. You can't do these days. You can't do how we was doing back in those days. We stay in church forever.
All day.
Then turn right around and have to come back and do it again.
Boy.
I would ask myself the question. I wonder what was keeping people in church that long.
We lose.
We lose you, Darren.
Because I love. Hear me?
Now we can hear you. Yo, yeah, it was like I'm like, oh, I think we lost him. But nah. Now you speaking right, though. Sorry. No, you speaking right. Hey, what's up, Link? What's up, brother? Kathy, what's good? We see y'all. Gregory, we're gonna get to your question. Y'all share this video. And if you have questions for Mr. Shuler, please get your questions ready. Please ask. We're going to be checking some of our other pages that we shared it on, but please ask. Daron, Pastor Daron. What type of church do you consider your church to be? You know how you got some churches, they're Pentecostal, you got some that's Baptist, what type of church is your church?
Well, we definitely come from out of Pentecostal background. So, but
y'all like to dance?
Huh?
Y'all like to dance?
Well, we like to do whatever the Lord said. We love worship. To be honest with you, we love worship. I think a church should be well-rounded. I think you should have, however God leads, and we're a worshiping church. We love worship, and normally worship will lead to praise, and so it's not a specific thing. We're governed by the Holy Ghost. We're governed by what the Lord says, and it's no scripted thing. It's no program. It's no, however we start from intercessory prayer, and however the Lord lead from that, we go with it. And so we're a church that really care about people's souls and care about the family and the whole total being. And so we want people to come in and be refreshed and feel like, let them know that there's no judgment. It's no judgment zone. You come in, get what you need, release what you need. Nobody's going to look at you strange. Nobody's going to look at you funny. However you got to get it. And so you're free to worship. And so, yeah, whatever the Lord does, that's what we go with.
How long have you been pastoring so far with your church?
Oh, assistant pastor.
Well, we've been in ministry for 9 years. We was actually assistant pastor for
Gotcha.
I forgot how long, 4 or 5 years maybe. So we recently, within the last few years, actually been pastoring the church because our overseer is 93.
Oh wow.
To be 94.
I had no pastor leaves at all.
And so we just try to keep the load off, and he allows us. Thank God, he allows us to. So we've actually been we've been assistant pastors, but we've been in ministry for 9 years now.
So out of these 9 years, anything that we do, that we pursue in life, it doesn't come without like challenges and things that you have to overcome or adjust to. Has there been anything since you've been pastoring or being the assistant pastor that you maybe had a challenge or a hard time overcoming it, but you did overcome it? And if you want to share, you can share it too.
Well, the hardest thing is when you see people come in with agendas, but you still got to love them. You still got to, still got to counsel. You still got to, and you know they're there to try to get.
You know they're there for it. Yeah.
And so I think that's
the
main challenge, because you can't as a pastor, we can't react the way sometimes our flesh want to react. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, and sometimes it get real. You be like, oh Lord, I want to tell him something. I want to get him, but I can't get him. You can't just put people out. You just do, but God always, he's we've overcome that. Anybody who's been in that ministry that came with agendas has already left, and we didn't have to do anything. And so I think if you take care of God's business, like I said, he'll take care of your business. And we just have to walk with integrity and just be consistent. I think people are looking for consistency. And so my wife and I have just been really trying to be consistent and let people know we love God for real. It's nothing we just do while we're in church, and then when we get home, we let everything out. You know what I'm saying? We live the same way in church, out the church, on the street, at the store, at the mall, wherever we go. We try to walk and have integrity and be consistent in our walk. So
at the beginning of this podcast, we started off talking about COVID. How has COVID affected, your congregation, affected you? Have you had COVID? Have you had to deal with that? Or anybody in your family?
Listen, I'm telling you, in 2020, early March, when they was really just trying to figure out what this was, I got it. And I was never really diagnosed with it, but I knew I had it. My wife was saying, like, for the longest, like, you didn't look right. So I decided when my nephew had worked out with me on the base, and I started feeling funny in my chest, and I was like, let me just go get checked out. They did X-ray, did all that stuff. They didn't see any flu or pneumonia or anything, but she said quarantine, so whatever it is viral. So it was no testing places we can go and get tested, none of this stuff. And so thank God for my wife, man, and the praying family, man. We came home, and I think I had it rough for 4 days. And this is what I'm telling you. You can't preach about something and not experience it. And I went through 4 days of having a fever. Felt like I had a plate of weights on my chest. I didn't have no taste. I didn't have no appetite. I lost 14 pounds in 4 days.
Wow.
And I couldn't talk. All I could do, and the enemy was just talking to me saying, you're going to die. And I had to think about the word of God. I couldn't speak it.
Wow.
But I just, all I could do is the devil, you lie. I'm going to live. And this is what I was thinking. And my wife was giving me all natural things. And it seems like every night about 2:00, the enemy would attack me with this breathing. Like I couldn't catch my breath. And so she was on the phone with some pastor friends of ours, Pastor Wilson, they're from Orangeburg. During the day, it was that Thursday. And during the day at 12 noon, she was on the phone, and she just hung up with them saying what was going on. They said, well, we're going to pray from 12 midnight to 4 a.m. in the morning. And I came out of the room gasping. Nothing was working. I stood over the pot. Nothing was working. My wife called them back, put it on speaker, told the girls pray. And she got that oil, and she poured it on my head. And I felt the warmth of God run through my feet all the way through my body. And my voice started coming back, and I just started worshiping, and I started thanking God and saying hallelujah, and it got louder, and I just started praising God. And from that moment, I had an appetite. I didn't have no more chest pains. I didn't have no more fever. Only thing that lingered was the fatigue, because my body was fighting so long. But I'm telling you, you can't tell me God is not a healer, because I didn't have no medications. All I was doing was honey tea, lemon. My wife was making me drink something seemed like every 5 minutes. But I was getting upset with her. But I'm telling you, I'm grateful that I have a praying wife. And God is a healer, man. And so during this COVID season with the church, it was kind of different, but the people are really, we can't allow the enemy to make us live in fear. We have to fear. Right. And so Our church, we sanitize, we do everything. We've been doing lives at first. When it first happened, we was going live, and then we started doing 2 Sundays in, 2 Sundays out. And we're back in there, still trying to be wise and figure out, what our next step is with it ramping back up again. But we do everything. We take every precaution, check temperatures, wipe down everything, spray in church before and after, so thank God he's been keeping us. And so we have people join, and it's been pretty good.
I like one thing you said. You said you couldn't speak the word, all you could do is think it. And it brought a scripture to my mind. As a man thinketh in his heart, his heart is his mind. So is that man. And so that's such a blessing, man. You couldn't speak it, you just thought it. And what you thought, that's what you became. And so, God bless you, brother, for that. Last question, we wrapping up here. We got a couple minutes left. Tell the folks how you can be reached, how they can get in contact with you, connect with your church, everything like that. Did we lose him? Daron, you still there?
He's probably talking, but it's freezing.
Email ler@gmail. Is it frozen again?
Yeah, go ahead. Do it again. We can hear you now. Go ahead.
Daron.Shuler@gmail.com. Daron.Shuler@gmail.com. Same first name, Daron.Shuler@CPLCministries.org. That's the church email. You can reach me via Facebook, Daron Shuler, the Maestro, on Facebook. And right now we're working on our church page, but you can go on the church page, Community Prayer Life Center, on Facebook as well. And so those are ways you can contact me. And I appreciate you all for having me on this show, man. I love both of y'all, and I speak blessings upon you and you guys and your families, and that the favor of the Lord will continue to cover and keep you all safe.
We receive it.
My prayer in Jesus' name.
Yeah. Hands up. Receive it. So Gregory, but in the last couple minutes, let's see if we can try to help assist you a little bit. You're a guitarist and a producer, and you complete in some sample packs. What I would say to you is get your own website if you don't have a website yet. You spent a lot of time to create this. You should get a website or something where people can go to purchase it and put your packs up there. You can also partner with companies like Big Fish. They got tons of companies that's looking for samples and things like that you can connect with to get your samples out there. But if it were me, I would create my own website and I would put all my stuff there and have a way where people can come and purchase your stuff personally from you, directly from your site. That's my advice to you with that. Go ahead, JR.
And you can use your social media page too. You can add stuff on there as well. Or
there you go.
What's the other one that sound?
Sound.
I can't remember.
SoundCloud.
Yeah, SoundCloud. Yeah. So yeah, there's ample opportunities, bro. So appreciate you asking questions. Hopefully we answer the question.
Yes. So Mr. Shuler, man, hey, look, we appreciate you coming on our little podcast.
Appreciate y'all having little old me on y'all big podcast.
Hey, we received that too.
Yeah. And we do this every other Friday right now until we kind of build it up more. But Daron, thank you, man. Appreciate you, your whole family for taking the time to be with us and to rock with us, to chill with us. This is Active Producer. I'm Gabriel. That's my business partner, JR. And we're glad for people that tuned in. For those who are listening and sharing the video, appreciate you. For those who ask questions, appreciate you. Thank you. We love what we do. It's not just about like music in a sense. It's just about production. We believe that everyone is a producer in something. So go and produce what God hid inside of you to manifest on the earth. So y'all enjoy yourselves. Take care. Have a good weekend. Peace.
Peace out.
Deuces.